I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, movie fans. Welcome back to Screen Snark, a podcast dedicated to the movies that are on our eyes, in our minds, and on our hearts. I'm Rachel Quirky Shank, and I messed up that intro. We can keep going.
Oh, okay. All right, I wasn't sure where we were going with that. And of course, I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Listen, this is real. This is the real world.
Oh, do we not get retakes in the real world?
No.
All right.
I mean, except when I'm thanking John Presnell at the end.
Right, then you will take as many takes as you need.
I like it. Listen, I like to extend the branch of honesty to our listeners
That's
from
legit.
the get-go. And then I lie to them subsequently after that in the edit.
That's true, you do. Yeah. And isn't that what editing really is?
It's
just
true,
lying?
just lying. It's like, I
lying.
didn't forget a word.
Our guest this week, of course, is Mark Robert Turner.
Mark Robert Turner!
Welcome back to the land of New York.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And our lives.
Yes.
And
Don't ever do it again.
Yeah, you're
again.
not allowed to leave ever again.
Go back in time and have not done what I did, actually.
We're gonna
Do this,
We're
right?
gonna misery the
love
fuck
that.
out of you. We're gonna break your fucking leg.
Mark is an actor and a musician and a singer, and we're going to get into more about him in a little bit. But we will do as we always do and talk about the movies we saw.
Movies.
And very briefly, I will say, since we do this from time to time, I did see, the newest movie I saw was Enter the Spider-Verse.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing, but we talked about it at length last time, and so I don't want to talk about it again at length, even though I could.
Yeah, even though that's all I want to do.
Except that if you listen to that episode and didn't see the movie yet, everything that Chuck and Rachel said in that episode is absolutely true. Go see it.
Go see
it.
it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, if you didn't see it after listening to the last episode, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you waiting for? Don't listen to this
It's been
one.
like 2 weeks. Go see this movie.
Exactly 2 weeks.
God.
But I will talk about the movie I did get to see most recently that wasn't that movie, which was Mary Poppins Returns.
Awesome.
Which was, so a little bit of a preface. I like musicals, but I'm not a musical theater nerd. Like, Hamilton was the only musical I got really obsessed with because I really love hip-hop and American history. And so, like, it hit a lot of nodes that made me obsess over it. Whereas, like, other musicals that I like Sweeney Todd and several others that I, of course, can't think of off the top of my head now, I don't listen to over and over again.
Yeah.
And so going into Mary Poppins, I was like, okay, I know it's a musical. I like musicals, but we'll see how the rest of the movie holds up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you like Mary Poppins, you will like Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, cool.
It's fanciful, it's fun, it's cute. Lin-Manuel Miranda keeps up the tradition of barely doing an English accent as the person on screen with Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as bad as Dick Van Dyke's, but it's definitely not perfect either.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. It
That's
was
okay.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. I love him and everything.
Great job, Lynn.
Emily Blunt was phenomenal as Mary Poppins. There were a lot of comments about her age and not having changed and all of that stuff, which was fun.
Yeah.
There were some really great cameos, returning people and actors who were famous in the old era of Disney who make appearances.
Oh, cool.
The child actors who I don't know the names of off the top of my head, but all 3 of the children were phenomenal. Like, there was never a moment where you're like, ugh, child actors. Like, they were sweet and smart and like, I think the really cool thing about this movie is it focused more on the parents who were the original, or the brother and sister.
Yeah, the Banks children.
The Banks children, again, are still the ones who need the help. The Banks children's children, they got it under control. They've got plans. They're doing their own thing. They're self-sufficient. There was an extended lamp operator, illuminator dance sequence that felt very Broadway, but that was the point.
Yeah.
But at one point they're like doing BMX jumps off of ramps, and I'm like,
Really?
and the bikes aren't well lit, so you know that they were definitely stunt bikes, but they didn't want it to look like stunt bikes, so they lit it differently. It was interesting. The big dance numbers were fun, but not what I loved most. The story, was pretty straightforward. But again, I think if you're going to see this either with the heart of a child or with a child, you will enjoy it a lot.
What if I have a child's heart in my bag?
then it may not matter because you might be getting arrested.
That's true. Noted.
The songs were good. I don't know that I could say that any of them were really memorable, except Lin-Manuel's song, because it was kind of like anthemic and very much a marching song.
Yeah.
Though the chorus line was "Trip the Light Fantastic," which I thought was just, it had a swing to it that was really cool.
I saw on James Corden's Late Show, which I can't remember the name of, a late show. Emily Blunt and Lin-Manuel were guests, and they were doing like Broadway through the years, and they did that song, just like a little snippet of it. I was like, that sounds like a fun song.
Yeah.
I'm for this, because it's funny that you saw the musical this time.
Yeah, instead of
and
you.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's usually your job.
Yeah, because my MO is musicals and animated things, and this is...
And mine had both, because they were animated
ticks
sections.
both those boxes.
Yeah.
So...
I will say the coolest thing about the animated sequences this time around is all of the clothing was designed in a way that it looked hand-drawn. Like, it had bold black lines.
That's
and
cool.
So that was neat. And the, like... you watch these old movies, which still hold up, but you can tell that, how it's green screened and superimposed. You don't, you just feel like you're in that world this time around.
I dig it.
And Lin-Manuel and Emily Blunt have several really great duets together and do some really great work. And there's a lot of really great singing in this, which can be problematic in shows, but this, it never feels like, oh, this is forced or they're trying to deliver dialogue. It felt natural.
Yeah.
I'd say the only thing that felt forced is there's a moment in the first duet with Emily and Lynn where Mary Poppins tells him to kick it up a notch essentially and sing faster, and it's a cue for him to do the last part sort of as a rap. Which
I was gonna ask, does he rap?
so he does.
Okay.
And
goodness.
it works. But for me, it took me out of the moment just because, in that time period, that kind of music didn't exist.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know.
Well, that's true.
Because I Am the Very model of a Modern Major General
That's true.
is actually a rap rhythm that is, still used.
That's true.
By modern hip-hop artists.
It took me out of the moment because he felt like a street worker until a working man until that moment.
Yeah.
And then there was just something about it that felt a little shoehorned.
Well, I think it's just his natural inclination to be a showman when it comes to rap.
Right.
I'm sure if anyone else who was not well known for hip-hop musical shit would have been like, oh, patter. But then it's Lin-Manuel, and you're like, oh, rapping.
Yeah, that's true. But that said, it was still entertaining, and I didn't hate it. There was this moment I was like, oh, I guess he's rapping now.
Yeah. Also, Lin-Manuel Miranda, in my opinion, is perfect. So
that's true.
That is a hill I will die on.
That's fair.
Great job.
But all in all, I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd ever need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Just because it's fairly formulaic, but that's what most really cheesy Disney movies are, and I don't mind that because at least this was a formulaic that didn't take me out of the movie. We talked about Ralph Breaks the Internet a few weeks back, and that one was formulaic in a way that pulled me out of the movie. I just didn't enjoy it because I could kind of predict where it was going. Yeah. This, even though I saw where it was going on every turn, I was kind of like, yay, let's go! Yeah. So it was fun. I also watched it with an audience. I watched it with my spouse and our cousin, and so that was fun too. Cool. Just a room full of people, I think, makes musicals and Disney movies way more enjoyable than watching them on your own.
Yeah. So if you had 3 words to sum up or describe this feature film.
Full of pep.
Full of pep.
So
Mary Poppins Returns.
There you go.
Which is 3 words in of itself.
That is
Mary
true.
Poppins
Returns. There you go.
There you
that
go.
could have been my 3-word review, just the title of the movie.
She's back, idiots.
That's your 3-word review.
It's my 3. I haven't seen the movie, so
something fun about that movie that I have a friend who was a 2D animator on it. And
cool.
Whenever Disney pulled away from 2D animation and they went entirely digital, they honestly let go of a lot of people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of living in this realm of he was an animator on Pocahontas and an animator on Hunchback, all the old school stuff. And that room, whenever they brought on that movie, they brought everybody back. They brought home
cool.
400 animators who had been there 15, 20 years ago. So if you felt nostalgia around the way that it was animated and how it looked, it's because they were the people who did it.
Same
cool.
people. That's really cool to know.
Yeah. It definitely felt very old school, even though you could definitely tell it's newer animation.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel as old as those movies feel, because you can see the HD of it all. But it was definitely still really cool and really immersive.
I dig that.
And fun. And the voice acting in the animated sequences were spot on and charming and fun.
I
so,
love it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to see that movie eventually. Maybe after my move is done.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It's very busy.
All right, well, Rachel Quirky Shank, what did you see?
Well, I would like to present to the jury, listener, audience, a double feature.
A double feature.
Yes.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. Because otherwise, I was going to have to just talk about the sequel, and I was going to be real sad. Over this past holiday, Christmas happened. I was with John's family in New Jersey. And on Christmas night, we gathered ourselves to watch a film, and we were discussing like what we were gonna watch, and we'd watched Pee-wee's Christmas special the night before, and the Doctor Who special with Peter Capaldi.
Oh, cool.
So we were having ourselves a jolly little Christmas time, and there was a movie that John had told me about some time ago that's become a bit of a meme. a bit of an internet cult hit, and so we decided to settle down with John Henry's family and watch the Netflix Hallmark special tribute thing, A Christmas Prince. A Christmas Prince.
Okay.
And then the next day I did watch the sequel because, of course, I had to.
Right, you had to know how it ended.
I needed
there were cliffhangers, somebody
to
might have
know
died.
how the wedding works out. And A Christmas Prince, the first movie, is charming and formulaic and definitely one of those like, oh, this is a Hallmark movie. And there's nothing bad or wrong about that. There were definitely moments, spoilers for A Christmas Prince, where the young Princess Emily, who's in cahoots with Rose McIver's character, who's an undercover journalist. She knows she's a journalist, but also knows she's falling in love with her older brother, the prince, soon to be the king. And they're about to have this Christmas ball, because of course they're about to have this Christmas ball, because it is a Hallmark movie on Netflix. And a team comes in to Rose McIver or Amber's bedroom, and Princess Emily says, "These are the best at makeup and hair and clothing. It's a makeover!" And after she shouted, "It's a makeover," I went, "I hate this movie!" I love this movie. It was definitely one of those, like, awesomely bad films where you're just like, no, I get why people, like, latched onto this and why it has this cult status now. And, like, the wolf scene is just stupid.
Wait, there's a wolf scene?
Yes, there's again, spoilers for A Christmas Prince. That classic from 2016, where Amber gets lost in the woods, and there's this wolf that's gonna eat her, but she just, like, sits down in the snow and looks scared, and this wolf is snarling at her, and then, of course, Prince Richard saves the day, and then they go to his father's old hunting chalet, where they almost kiss. Almost,
but they don't.
But
they
they
can't, because
don't.
the movie's over once they kiss.
Yeah, and then you find out that Prince Richard, spoiler alert for A Christmas Prince, is adopted. Scandals.
Okay.
But yeah, super formulaic, and some of the reads of the lines in this film were just buck fucking wild. Just like the editor woman who's like the boss of because of course Amber's a journalist at some fashion magazine.
Of course.
She's like a young upstart journalist sent to a foreign land called Moldova to get an interview with the prince or whatever. It's my dumb, stupid voice because that's just how I feel. And the line reads of the editor-in-chief woman are just insane to me. Just like, no human speaks the way that this woman is speaking, and no person would make the decisions that this woman...
Is it over the top?
It's not, though.
It's subdued.
It's real, like... I don't want to say it's robotic. It's just...
Is it Christopher Walken?
No.
No.
It's hard to describe.
I'll have to go watch a Christmas
very much
movie.
like,
Absolutely.
this is
selling it.
this is schlock that you've written with your finger words. Like, it's just that weird kind of situation where you're like, this person is acting, and I love it. And then the dad, who was like the owner of a New York diner, was really sweet, but his reads were also similar to that, where he's like, I'm saying these things to you because I'm supposed to, Peanut. I loved it though. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I loved this
I'm curious now.
movie.
If we've learned anything on this podcast, you are good at selling terrible movies that I then want to go watch.
Yeah, because I loved it.
Okay.
It's terrible, and I loved it, and I get it. I get it's like weird, bad movie status.
So, do you want to give a 3-word review for each movie or both together? Since we're letting you do both.
I think because of where this is gonna go next, I should probably just wrap this one up in 3 words.
Wow.
Oh,
You're
man.
not usually speechless.
No, this one's tough. Like, how do you describe this movie? And so much happens. Just what? Netflix does Hallmark.
There you go.
And then, like, a thumbs up emoji.
Okay. I'll
Like,
allow
that's
it.
it. Like,
There
that's
you go.
pretty much it. Or, like,
Did Netflix do
Watch
Hallmark?
for Wolves.
Or did Hallmark do Netflix?
No. Netflix did Hallmark, and I think a lot of the creative team behind this actually also do Hallmark movies. So it has all of those like Hallmark tropes.
I feel like, did you see Christmas Chronicles?
Not yet.
No, not
Okay.
yet.
But everyone keeps telling
boy.
me I have to see
It
it.
feels like a
Man.
Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they're just partnering.
All
more.
I know is all the Santa Daddy memes about Kurt
Oh,
Russell.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all
I
I'm
get
familiar
it.
with.
Oh boy.
Oh man!
It's very good.
So I enjoyed A Christmas Prince and would recommend it. And I will say polar opposite opinion for A Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding.
Okay. And so how many years is this after the original?
1 year
Okay.
after.
1 year.
So, spoiler alert for A Christmas Prince. After all the dust settles and Richard is made king of Aldovia, he comes to New York and he proposes to Amber and she says yes. And then the next movie starts up a year after this whole situation, and they're sort of like, it does this really quick montage of them being in love, I guess, where they're like, ooh, they're in an island. Oh, they're flying a lot between New York and Aldovia. Blah 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 blah. And I kind of wish I had seen that movie because I think that movie would have been more interesting. Them like navigating being engaged and being long distance. Amber has a blog that people are following now because
that's what reporters do.
Because she's gonna be a royal. Well, she lost her journalism job
Right, of course, because she married the prince.
because she wrote a story in the first movie. Spoiler alert for Christmas Prince. She wrote a story all about the true prince and what a good dude he is, because he was like for some reason in this universe there is only tabloids. That's fucking it.
Okay.
That's the whole jam. Like, everything is tabloids, everything is hearsay. So she wrote this really lovely piece about this very good man who's going to be a really good leader for a country.
Right.
And the editor, who does the weirdest line reads, is like, it's schlock, I hate it, we'll never publish it. And I'm like, this is a story exclusive that only she has about this royal that everybody's okay, movie. It's a Hallmark. It's fine. But, in the next movie, like, she's getting prepped for this wedding and everybody comes back and they recast the dad, which was a really weird choice because the dad they had before was, although his line reads were really subdued, there was a lot of heart in, like, what he was doing and the way the choices he was making.
Okay.
The guy they recast is like, I'm from New York, kiddo, and I'm a fish out of water in this palace I'm gonna make a coney dog. And it's just, it's pretty cringy. And I'm pretty bummed that they gave him a much larger role, even though he wasn't very lovable. Everything that was lovable about the first one was lost in this one. Like, Rose McIver and Ben Lamb had this really nice, like, chemistry in the first one where they were, like, kind of flirting.
Yeah.
And
It's still the same two in the
it's
second
the same
one.
two people.
But
it's
the
just,
chemistry's gone.
The chemistry would just like wasn't there, and a lot of it was the writing was keeping them apart. And
so
when they
is
were together, it was like a lot of drama. And what's really bananas about this one, and this is like literally the most bananas thing about any like romantic movie centered around a wedding, they were really caught up in the economics of this small country in like a really buck wild way.
But why?
Because so Eldovia's new king, Richard, starts this initiative that his late father started to modernize Eldovia and, like, to bring them technology and, like, do all these really cool things. But the country is losing money, and the response of this monarchy, who are in charge, like, they are a functioning monarchy, and his decisions are, like, he's the president forever for this country. And he's like, yeah, we're losing money. I don't know why. And that's his response. And the queen mum is like, we'll just wait and see. It'll be fine. Ugh. And then the bad guy from the first one, who was like the cousin who was trying to usurp the throne, comes back, and then he's like a good guy. And there's a bit where he talks about cryptocurrency.
Wait, really?
Yes, he's like walking. They're doing like the Sorkin walk and talk, and he's like, "Oh, I've heard about this and he names it this like cryptocurrency. And John and I paused the movie, and we're like, "Is Lord Simon trying to sell them on Bitcoin? Is this happening?" And they never talk about it ever again.
It's just that one moment.
It was bizarre and off-putting, and I hated it.
Do they get married?
They do. They get married in the end, and like
Okay.
she had. Oh, but I just remembered that stereotype guy. Oh God! So they have this like this like Eastern man like named Sahil, and he talks in third person. He's like, Sahil is here to make your wedding, and it's really bad and really cringy. And the whole thing is like they're not listening to her and what she wants about like the intimacy of this wedding, and they're just like, no, you'll be fabulous. Sahir has vision, or like whatever. Everyone has an accent.
But not like
But,
an
like,
accent,
who
but they're not
knows-
from somewhere.
Who knows what? But everybody has an accent. Everyone had an accent in the first one, but it was kind of weird and charming. But everyone had an accent in this one, and it was just like, oh, we're being vaguely like something phobic here. I'm not sure what.
Oh, God.
And then like her friends from the first one are just like real shitty assholes in the second one, and it was just charmless in a
like
way. But in the end, they have this ceremony, and it's just what they wanted, and it's perfect. And John very, very smartly observed as we were watching, it was a closed ceremony. There were no cameras, so why they were making a big deal about the pageantry for this ceremony was beyond us. And no one said anything about changing that, because it seemed like this was going to be a la Meghan Markle marrying Prince Harry, you know, like heavily like watched and discussed and whatever, but they didn't say anything in the movie about changing that script. Like, and going, no, we'd like a closed ceremony. Also, right after they got married, they're like, and now it's your queen. And I was like, shouldn't she be coronated? Maybe. I don't know.
You don't know how that country works.
I don't know how. They don't either, apparently. They don't know that somebody's embezzling money from them. And they're just like, we'll wait and see. We're the leaders of a small country. We don't know why we're losing. It was garbage.
So Bitcoin didn't fund the country?
Bitcoin went nowhere, and I was really sad about that. I was like, can we do that? Can we just go there?
And what would be your 3-word review of the second movie, A Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding?
Hot Christmas garbage.
Hot Christmas
Just,
garbage.
like, don't watch this one. Except, okay, I will say, as per usual, I do like to look at IMDb for movies, like after I watch them or when I watch them.
See trivia and stuff.
But on this one, on A Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding, I decided to look at the reviews, and most of them are like 1 and 2 star reviews.
Okay. In line.
Which is fine, and I get it, and like a lot of the same sentiments were echoed in this review. There was one 10 out of 10 review that was this guy said to the effect of, my girlfriend and I were having a lot of relationship troubles, and we saw Christmas Prince, and it really solidified our relationship. And then we went back and we watched this one, and we were fighting a bunch before that, and then it really showed us that you can't trust anyone, and we can only trust each other. So now we only communicate in person or over the telephone. We have removed our paper trail for anything. Loved this movie. Saved my relationship. It was bananas.
We're at a
It
4
was
banana count.
bananas.
4 bananas.
5.
So,
All right.
like, oh my God.
Well,
I read that one and I was like, this has to be a troll, but I
It can't
really
be real,
hope
but
it's not.
right? Imagine it's not.
Oh, boy. Someone did that for entertainment's sake. I hope. Because otherwise I'm very concerned for that couple.
All right. Well, it sounds like you went on a ride with
I
those.
did. Holy fuck.
Dear John Henry, if you're listening to this episode, please comment with your takes on it. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I imagine they mirror yours, but still.
We paused that movie so many times to just be like, what the fuck is happening? And then we started watching a thing that we like.
Uh-huh.
And I could not stop watching the thing that we like with like rage eyes. I was like, we have to take a moment.
I need some time.
Reabsorb.
I love the 7 Deadly Sins, but all of this is making me angry because I just watched A Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding.
All right. Well, we'll let you relax and we'll move on.
Thank you.
Mark,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good.
So what is the most recent movie you saw?
All right, I present to you Aquaman.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So before you get into it,
Jason
I have to
Momoa.
first ask, the general consensus I've seen on the internet is bad movie but fun.
Yeah.
Is that your feeling on it?
So I am
Also,
notorious.
try to avoid spoilers if you can.
I will, yeah, no spoilers.
Okay,
I
because
am.
I haven't seen it, and I'm trying to like go into it like
I will give you
eyes closed.
nothing. You get to
Nothing.
know nothing about
Hooray!
it.
It's
anyway.
a movie about Aquaman.
We'll talk about Christmas Chronicles.
No, oh God, no.
So, I'm notoriously known for enjoying terrible things. And
Okay.
So I would say that I love this movie. So if the internet reviews were saying that it was bad, maybe it was. I refuse to check internet reviews.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't-
fair.
I don't want to know.
That's
Yeah.
Because
legit.
again, if somebody else liked or didn't like it and I loved it, it will usually be canceled or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably the only person that watched Grey's Anatomy during the season 13. You know what I mean?
My
Like,
spouse definitely did too. I
Oh,
can
good.
promise
See,
you.
so
you're not
we
alone.
have
Yeah.
good taste. You've got good taste, actually. Which is,
So tell us a little bit about your experience with Aquaman.
this is not a spoiler alert.
It's okay. I mean, if you do, it's fine.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is shirtless the entire film, and it's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
mean, that
Every
is...
second of it is
I'm sure.
absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little nervous about going into this movie because I've been a huge DC fan, and
Right.
I used to watch the cartoon Justice League.
I
and
love that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My mother looked like the TV show Wonder Woman. Like
Very cool.
And I just can't. I just couldn't wrap my head around how you're going to do a movie underwater.
Right.
Like, how are you going to do it and make it look believable and not have it look weird like in, I don't know, Harry Potter
Yeah.
3 where...
Right, when
Yeah.
he's swimming underwater
Yeah,
with the gilly
you're just
weed,
like,
yeah.
how, and we're just going to stare at that
Where
constantly
Samwise
wondering-
Gamgee is just an air jet. and he's
Yeah,
going,
exactly. I just there's nothing more that I dislike than to know that I'm going to be staring at CGI and be constantly trying to pick out the problems.
Yeah.
And this movie was, I would say, seamless.
Yeah.
That's
it was just
awesome.
absolutely beautiful.
I dig that.
And it wasn't. I don't know. You'll see it.
Yeah.
Like there are people with flowy hair, and they're obviously standing in a space where there's a green screen behind them, but they've even gone in and digitally added flow to the people's hair that's behind them. It was so cool. Yeah, it looked really good, and the creatures looked amazing. And
My favorite thing about seeing the trailers for this movie is
Yeah.
I feel like Patrick Wilson is at a point in his career where he's just going to play crazy villains in ridiculous
do whatever
things
the hell he wants.
forever, and I love it. Like
Yeah.
because every scene I've seen him in the trailer, he's that villain shouting exclamations and just
I'm
like
the king
and
of
just
the
like
ocean.
and just with all conviction. Like,
Yeah.
and I love that.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it does fun in a way that DC movies haven't done yet.
haven't done it in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that Wonder Woman is incredibly
I
fun.
love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And I think
It's
that
great.
showcasing I mean, whenever we did that show, they were talking about how long it had taken for DC to actually decide to allow a woman to front run a movie.
Yeah.
And Marvel hadn't even done it yet.
Yeah.
No, Marvel's
And
getting on it next
all that
year.
we did was prove how important it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly, personally, in my opinion, why we're seeing, was it Marvel?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel come
Captain
out next
Marvel.
year. And also why the female lead in this, Amber Heard, has such a high... You will see her constantly.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that
She
she's
is a
presence.
sidekick to that character in a similar way that like Ant-Man and the Wasp are.
Okay, cool.
And
I dig that.
just absolutely amazing.
Well, I happen to love Amber Heard, and like everything I've seen of her in photos and the trailer, like it seems like she's there to shut down Aquaman's nonsense.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
kind of appreciate that
Amen.
in a male-driven movie, because a lot of my problems with the DC nonsense that had come out, besides Wonder Woman, which stands alone, is it's a lot of men brooding and being gravelly,
Angry and frustrated.
It's except in Justice League, where it's like Ezra Miller being precious, and like in few moments of that, and then the rest of it is still men being like, "Rah!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is, and I think it's a trend in films that I am not crazy about, that I'm seeing, is we're taking, and they did it in Guardians of the Galaxy with Kurt Russell.
Yes.
We're taking these actors that are older,
Yeah.
not older,
And
But then
digitizing them to be young.
Are they digitized or is it makeup?
I think it's digitized.
I think it's
I
digitized.
don't
Oh, do you think
know.
it's makeup?
I don't know, because their
It's-
faces always look bigger.
Oh, you must be talking about
but
Willem.
without a single wrinkle.
So you must be talking about Willem Dafoe.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
'Cause,
and
yeah,
you'll
I know
stare
he's
at
in it.
It's not him.
Yeah.
It's not him. It
Oh,
happens,
really?
and
It happens, but it's a
in
different
Get
actor.
ready, and there's two
Is
of
it?
them.
It's not Nicole Kidman, is it?
You shall see.
It's probably Nicole Kidman.
But
There you
it's
go.
it's
But
the,
yeah,
it's,
I've
it's
noticed
the
that.
strangest thing, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you see Kurt Russell and you're all of a sudden like, Kurt Russell, it's you again. What
Yeah.
has happened
Yeah.
in Guardians of the
Guardians,
Galaxy? And
yeah.
in this, it was just weird. It's super bizarre. It's
Yeah.
super bizarre also to see people who have had a bunch of face work done.
Yeah.
have that done to them, even though they've tried to make themselves stay
Yeah.
young forever.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I think that the villain in the film is. I prefer a villain that comes from the struggle to be good or
Yeah.
to be bad. Like,
Yeah.
but there's none of that.
It's just he's a bad
You're like,
person.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's-
bad guy.
there's-
But, and not even who you're talking about. There's a whole other sub arc
Oh, yeah.
that I don't think I didn't see in any of the trailers.
Oh, cool.
That
Yeah.
I won't tell you.
Okay.
But is very important to the actual story arc of it. And I mean, I can give you general gist, right?
Yeah,
sure,
totally,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like the struggle really comes down to for Aquaman, and it's interesting. I'm assuming this is a prequel. Honestly, I didn't see anything in the film that alluded to where it falls in the story arc.
Yeah, I've heard.
I feel like
it's
that's
an origin
probably
story.
yeah,
the plan.
I think
It
it's
has to
supposed
be.
to be before Justice League. It must
Okay.
be.
Yeah.
Because like it's about where the Aqua people started from.
Right.
And the Atlanteans started from, and how I don't know, there was a lot of political propaganda around.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be in the ocean and not talk about what humans do to it.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, and I'd heard that there's a lot of like the people on land and in the sea used to work together, and now there's this
And
distance.
There's this thing. There's this and I think that Patrick Wilson, while he's not a villain, it's a challenge because
Yeah.
you're hearing what he's saying.
Yeah.
And you're making sense of it and going, God, what assholes! And then you're like,
Yeah.
I'm the asshole. Oh my God, I'm drinking this giant soda out of a straw. It's plastic. I gotta throw this away. What did I just do to that?
Yeah,
6-year-old?
that's what I've heard, and I thought that was really interesting. I think what makes me excited about solo movies in this DC universe is that they can focus on the characters. Like that's
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah.
problem. Like the Superman movie that Henry Cavill was in, the first Superman movie, was not a great movie, but like it had the potential to be great. And like
Yeah.
there were things I really liked about it, and I still really like Henry Cavill. I'm not as down on him as a lot of people are. I think he's an okay actor. I just think he's been given shit in most of the movies he's in.
Yeah. I just don't think that they knew then how important it was to play serious lightly.
Yeah.
There's no comedy in that first movie.
Yeah.
No.
And there's no comedy, honestly, like really in the second one.
No, it's not until Justice League that there is, but a lot of it's shoehorned in.
And
Yeah. Joss Whedon, what's up?
yeah, exactly. And it was Batman versus Superman that was like even darker than it could possibly get.
And like the fact that the in Batman vs Superman that the whole Martha exchange happens where they realize they have the same mothers with the same name is done so seriously that should have been played for laughs at some moment, or
that should have been the Spider-Man meme of pointing,
right? Or like it should have been like after the fact they should have gotten a chuckle about it because it's ridiculous.
It's insane. Yeah, what are the chances?
Yeah.
Over like
this isn't about morals. This is about mothers.
Yeah.
Like what is
what does that even mean?
Happening, DC? Why are you drunk?
I was super excited again to hear or to go see Justice League, but then I made the mistake of going on the internet and realizing that a lot of people didn't like it and that it didn't sell very well. No. And then there's question of whether or not they're going to do it again. Henry Cavill is not necessarally signed on for the next movie.
He's supposedly not Superman anymore, and there's rumors that Ben Affleck's done as Batman too.
Possibly. We immediately got online because my husband Chris loves Superman and Batman in the DC universe as well, and there's possibility that it could still happen.
Right.
Something happened with a contract negotiation around Kazam.
Oh, Shazam.
Right.
Which is going to be a television show?
No, it's a movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Zachary Levi is the lead.
I thought that it should be a television show because the premise is real sweaty.
Yeah. I don't know. When I went to see Into the Spider-Verse, they played the trailer for it again, and it looks like it's going to be fun, and it's going to be a kids movie.
Silly.
A kids movie. It looks to be funny, like big, but for
and also,
superheroes.
I love Zachary Levi. I have a soft spot for him, even though he's not the stuff he does isn't always great. Like I have a real soft spot for him, and so he doesn't seem to take it that seriously. So I feel like, hey, maybe we've got something here, and that's what these movies need is to not take themselves so seriously.
Yeah,
and I think with Wonder Woman and Aquaman and now Shazam being the next one, maybe after that, let's just have fun with these movies.
Let's have fun. I mean, I definitely thought that over something like what was the movie with all the bad guys? It was produced by the same company.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
That movie.
I never even saw it.
Just the worst thing I've ever seen. I fell asleep a million times during it, and again, part of the problem for them, they released that trailer, made it look funny in the same way that Guardians of the Galaxy is funny. Then you watch the movie, and it's the darkest, scariest thing ever. And they had to go back into doing reshoots for that film.
Yeah.
So what we ultimately learned is that Henry Cavill was not available to be in the Shazam end of movie.
Yeah, there's like a post-credits thing,
but because of a scheduling conflict. And then it sounded like, based off of, I hate saying this word, but because I'm not really on Twitter, but based off of a tweet that Henry Cavill's manager said, the negotiations aren't done.
Oh, okay.
They just haven't been fully decided upon.
Got it.
But if one more actor just over greed just destroys my soul by exiting a film franchise, I don't know if you know. Have you heard that Star Trek? He's not the guy that Chris Pine's not doing those movies anymore.
Yeah, apparently he's not going to play Picard anymore, or not Picard. Kirk.
I think that's okay because I think now that we've passed the mantle of Kirk from Shatner to someone else, I think it'll be really interesting to watch what that franchise does if they continue onward.
If they're able.
If they recast things. Also, Chris Pine is best Chris of all the Chris's, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's why it broke my heart.
Yeah.
I was really upset because I felt like Wonder Woman, they stole, Warner Brothers stole him.
Yeah.
And
but to play the romantic lead for a female-led, he's like, I will be this thing. I will do this for you, Wonder Woman. And I appreciate that. And the fact, cover your ears, because he's a very important role in Spider-Verse.
Right, yes.
You know, just to do those things. And the fact that he continually supports women creators. If he doesn't want to play misogynistic Kirk anymore, I'm for it.
Well, and also,
why can't they help him evolve away from that?
Or, here's a bright idea, Star Trek. Focus the movie around Uhura.
No question.
Yeah, just make her the lead.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Because Zoe Saldana is amazing.
So
She's
good.
everything.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I'm interested to see what DC does next. So you don't have to explain to me about having your heart broken because I am a DC fanboy. I have a giant, thick book of Green Lantern because Green Lantern is my favorite.
Yeah.
And Ryan
my
Reynolds
favorite.
And Ryan Reynolds took part in ruining that for me.
Yeah.
And he even regrets it.
But can we not this is something else that kind of frustrated me a little bit about the movie. I just get so sick of seeing the same actors being pulled up from previous superhero movies to play other superheroes. Like,
yeah, I will say I definitely make the Ryan Reynolds concession on that, because he has a deep love of the lore of Deadpool.
Right
and
now.
He took that movie. I personally think that the reason that it was so successful is because he did it.
Well, and because he personally funded parts of it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he paid money out of pocket to have people on set in the first movie. And so, like, that definitely changes the investment level of it. But also, like, at least I feel like Marvel's trying a little bit. Like, Tom Holland was a somebody, but not known on the broader scope, and is now Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah.
Chris Pratt was known, but, like, Guardians of the Galaxy launched his movie star career.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, because he got Jurassic Park after that. He got a bunch of other stuff after that. And so, like, I like that. The Lego movie. Which I saw the trailer for the sequel, and I am down for that weirdness.
I'm in.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Listen, again, I'm going to say it. Lord Miller should just do all things.
Everything.
They should just give it to Lord Miller.
My favorite line in that was, "Everything is not awesome."
Well, if Mark, if you had to give a 3-word review for Aquaman, what would it be?
Abs.
Doesn't have to be a sentence.
Doesn't.
Abs. Orca. Abs.
All right, abs,
Perfect.
orca, abs.
Abs, orca, abs.
We never said they have to be 3 different words. No. Could have been abs, abs, abs.
Abs. It's fine.
Awesome. Well, Mark, it's really great to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's really great to have you back on this fucking coast.
So for listeners who don't know...
Sorry, Mom, I cursed.
Mark and Rachel are a band called Afterbirth Monkey that I am a huge fan of, that have been apart for a while, but have done some really great comedy music.
And some really terrible comedy music.
You can find all of it on Spotify.
Except for the stuff we set to private.
But I do highly recommend the most recent record that you guys put out, where Peter Guerrero is the narrator for, because I think that the narrative of that and just the song flow of that album is really fun.
Thank you.
I really dug it. I will admit that rewatching the music video that I was a part of for It's Raining Dicks is a problem.
It's very problematic.
It's not.
It's us
great.
trying for something and then not quite achieving it because of like time restraints and like we had a vision of like actual zombies, and then we're like, I think people will get those zombies, and then it's like, no, it's just dudes humping people. That's weird.
Yeah,
but we did it bad.
Yeah,
we did it bad.
But that said, I've always been a fan of the work that you guys do.
Thank you.
But Mark, I wanted to talk a little bit about you being an actor, because you're actually the star of a movie coming out called The Restaurant. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give the listeners a quick little summary of The Restaurant?
Yes. So The Restaurant is... I'm sure tons of you have worked in restaurants or eaten in them.
Yeah.
The general premise is the bad guests get eaten. By something otherworldly.
Living in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And you are the proprietor. You are the owner of the restaurant.
Yeah. The bad guests are the guests that if the restaurant closes at 11, they walk in at 10:59 and order a 3-course meal and then sip on coffee.
We know those guys. Yeah. We're all familiar. And Rachel, you're also in the movie. You play one of the waiters.
I play
waitresses.
I
wait
play
staff.
server.
A server.
A server.
Server.
Named Cassie, who's just fucking over it. For sure.
So talk a little bit about your history with acting. So I assume you went to school for acting and stuff.
Yeah, I've been both serving since I was 13 and performing at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom was the kitchen manager of the church bingo, and I would feed hot dogs and chicken wings to the elderly.
Wow.
While they won money on like pool tickets. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And from there, since there, I was acting as a kid and doing theater in high school, and I would leave school. It was life was not super easy for me as a young gay man in Pittsburgh. It's not like super
I'm
well
shocked.
accepted.
Huh. You don't say.
Yeah. I would go to lunch every day, and somebody would scream faggot at me every single day, and I was like, I gotta get out of here and find other faggots, and so I decided to go do theater.
Yeah.
And but I would go half day. I would leave, wouldn't go to lunch, leave half day, and go to do theater, and then spend noon till 11 p.m. rehearsing and dancing and doing musicals.
Yeah, and then you were owned by Disney for a while.
And then I was owned by Disney for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was friends with Peter Pan and Tarzan, and
Cool.
if you cruised on the cruise lines for, I guess, like the past 7 years, you would have seen me on the stateroom video.
Huh. That's
Peter
pretty
Pan
neat.
would have looked familiar.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Peter Pan would have looked oddly like Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, that's like I have a friend who's friends with Santa at Santaland.
Yeah,
So
I-
I'm familiar with the
Yeah,
phrasing.
I have a familiar elf friend
Yeah.
who knows Santa.
Yeah.
I also know Santa because I visit him.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
who
and
doesn't
hang
visit
with
Santa?
him.
Visit him and hang with
I
him.
asked him what he thought about the Marvel trailer for Endgame. You know, like you do, because
Of
he
course.
knows everything.
He does know
knows
everything.
everything.
Yeah, and he was like, the movie better start in Wakanda. And I was like, I know, right?
It has to.
Was music always a part of it too?
Yeah, I would say music. I sing constantly.
Yeah.
Like my sister, we used to drive her crazy. I would sing The Little Mermaid every day.
That must have been
Didn't we all?
so fun.
Yeah, just constantly. And I still do it. So
What's your favorite song from The Little Mermaid?
honestly, it's her voice warm-up that she does before she releases her voice to Ursula.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I just love that.
Yeah,
It's so beautiful.
it's a recurring theme in the movie, so it's
Yeah.
very like resonant throughout the whole thing because you
I will say that rewatching that movie not that long ago as an adult, I feel so bad for Sebastian the Crab, who just
yeah.
wants to do music and live his life under the sea and have some fun and not chase this troublesome bratty child all over the ocean.
Yeah.
Like as a kid there's a sympathy for the free spirit and you want her to be happy, and then like as an adult, you know, someone who's trying to have kids, it's like this little entitled brat, like give the crab a break.
You're the front singer of the most popular band in the ocean.
Yeah, what is your problem?
What's your problem?
Oh no, you just want to go get your fin wet.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Yeah, knock it off. Have you seen the horrifying animatronics in Disney World for the Little Mermaid ride? It's
the worst.
It's funny because there was recently a video Disney Japan
Disney Japan is
released
doing
a big
animatronics.
with Beauty and the Beast, and
And
it
they
looks
look
so real,
amazing.
like
So good. Yeah,
But
but
like-
that Little Mermaid, those animatronics, those are old.
old.
Yeah.
And like
Those
I
are
remember
very
going
old.
through that ride because I'd never been on that ride before, and I went last year, and like it was like body horror almost. It was terrifying.
Whenever the black light thing happens, and then
Yeah.
like she comes out and she's like,
oh man.
it's,
Sounds terrible. I want to go.
yeah,
And so what brought you to New York? Was it theater and acting?
yeah, theater and acting, and I graduated high school at 17 and did work with Busch Gardens, and then did a production of a show called Forever Plaid. Forever Plaid kind of took me for like a 6-year stint of theater.
Oh, cool.
So I started there. It's actually kind of a star-crossed lovers type of a thing with my husband. So I was the swing on the show because I have the ability, I guess, to absorb a lot of information, and so I learned all 3 parts and stage managed.
Oh wow.
And would go in for those whenever people would get sick or whatever. And then Disney happened. When I left for Disney, my husband Chris came in to do the show.
Oh.
It was directed by the original Frankie from Forever Plaid, and he then took us, and we were like his people. And so they did it up in Washington State and Sacramento, and I can't remember the other places, but in a couple of places, Schenectady and New York and Pittsburgh 3 times, and we just sort of traveled the country with it.
Oh, cool.
And we didn't meet until I left the cruise ship and then went and performed in Sacramento with him. And I thought he was going to be somebody completely different because I've heard about Chris Crouch, but I didn't know who he was. And I pulled the van up and thought I was going to die. He's so beautiful.
They married now.
They're married.
I
now.
told him one week into knowing him, I was like, I'm going to marry you. And he was like, you're crazy.
Who's crazy now?
I was right.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I'd say both Chris and Mark.
That's okay. When me and 3 weeks into dating, finger quotes, my spouse, because we denied that we were in a relationship for like the first month. Because we couldn't get attached even though we spent almost every day together.
Yeah.
Like in around the 3-week mark, we started talking about, well, like, it's way too early to talk about marriage. But like, if we were going to do that kind of a thing, this is what we do and this is how we do it. So I'm a big advocate for the crazy marriage talk way too early.
Yeah,
I get that.
it oftentimes turns into something.
It does.
I was a product of that. My mother and father married after like 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
I know.
That's a short amount of time. But it seems to have worked out as you exist.
Yeah. I think I may have been why it happened, but we'll see. why? Maybe.
I was definitely the reason my parents got married. They got married in March of the same year I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in August of that year.
Nice.
So
Hey.
You have to do a lot of math there.
I was at the wedding.
Yeah.
I was a tadpole, but I was at the wedding,
Aw.
damn it. No, my parents are the best. They're very much in love.
So
That's what's up.
So we came back. I came back to New York after doing Forever Plaid with them, and I don't know. I feel like the industry itself is pretty challenging at that time because there was a big transition that happened when you left theater.
Right.
You would leave college, go to New York, and the audition room got really hard to get into.
Yeah.
And it also it lost the not to say that anybody who was in that room isn't important, but it lost the decision makers. So you go in and you audition, and you're auditioning for interns because Equity was requiring people to have the auditions in spite of whether or not they were casting out of it. And
Yeah,
same thing
it's
with
a
film
really
and television.
weird system.
It's like you can only see the same people in movies for so long.
Right.
And that's when sort of YouTube started popping up and people were making their own videos. And so I started something called Scratchy Dog Productions, which is how she and I started playing together.
Oh,
because
okay.
I was doing these like short videos with my friends because I wanted to give them work.
Right.
And ultimately, it was funny because I started producing with one of those like little flip cams and an editing program on a MacBook, and I started helping people get work because they needed to put together a reel. They didn't have the footage to do it. They did 6 or 7 videos with me, and I would just cut the video that I put together for them, plus the commercial that they had done 10 years ago. And then they were able to use it as a reel and start getting work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so from there, I started writing music, and she and I were working together at the restaurant that I'm currently still employed with. And I said to her, I was like, hey,
I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet. People have heard this story. But I had just come back from a holiday trip where I was gifted a sewing machine, and I was talking about the sewing machine when we didn't have tables to serve. And Mark asked me if I wanted to bring my sewing machine to his apartment to make puppets, and I love puppets.
Who doesn't?
So we did that, and then our puppets became props and things that we used for funny videos that Mark was working on. And we talked a little bit about writing music, and he had mentioned a couple songs that he had written, and I was actually sort of writing songs outside of that, and we were like, oh, let's play them for each other.
Together. Yeah, we were
like,
on the back
them.
patio of the Bear Burger the first time that I played the Nerd Hymn.
Yeah.
And we just started going out. We were a 4-person band, and
we
now,
were. Oh right, we were
for a very short period of time.
We
Again,
were.
I wanted the collaborative thing to continue. Like,
Right.
If people, I think that you are sometimes most creative when you feel either sort of trapped or most frustrated.
Right.
Because it forces you to like, I want to get the heck out of whatever situation I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's have fun. Why am I waiting for you to tell me that I'm special? It's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
it's the antithesis of creativity.
Yeah,
Right.
like holding on the line for someone to say that you're gonna do the thing when you could just be like, but I'm gonna just do
I'm
the
just
thing.
gonna do it.
I know I'm
myself.
special. Quit telling me I'm not.
Yeah.
So we started playing and went
Yeah.
and did some open mics and had a lot of fun and the short videos stopped except for the ones that you and I were filming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for music
Yeah.
videos that we were
Yeah.
doing.
But we had one video that ended up doing really well. It
A
was
taco song, right?
not our music
No.
video. It was a video that we filmed together that was it was politically topical, and it was about a little girl Kirk Cameron had just come out being
very like
super
homophobic.
Oh, right.
And it was a little girl having the conversation with him of why, and I also do like 2D animation, like
stop
stop motion.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I built that into what we were doing, and she asks him the question of like, so if families are, I don't know, if families are meant to love, and you see the picture of the
and
two,
love makes homes.
makes home.
Why is my home bad?
Yeah,
Because I have two dads.
Yeah, and so there's these two puppets, and the dads were the two. Like the little girl's a puppet in the front, and she's having a conversation, and the dads are two puppets in the background.
Yeah.
And they're just like kind of listening to her and being like, "Oh, that's sweet."
So sweet,
And then-
precocious daughter.
Yeah, and then she like ends it with some nasty thing that she's heard dad say about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very
That's
sweet.
cute.
I think
Yeah,
it's called
but-
Notes from Emily.
Yeah, Thoughts from Emily.
Thoughts from Emily.
And what was funny is my
Yeah.
husband was working in a bar in Queens, and he comes in, and a professor for NYU was just talking about political, the ways that people are communicating about politics, and he was like, and I just showed this internet video. We had like 50,000 views on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but this internet video that I found online about this little girl named Emily, and he was like, "That's my husband," and he lives down the street. So I don't know. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Afterbirth Monkey's been around for a while now. You guys have been working under that project for a while.
Yeah.
6.
Oh God.
It's got to be at least 6 years.
At least 6 years. The first 4 years, the first year flew.
That feels right, because I was
feels
living in the one spot with the guy.
With the guy in the
With
thing.
that guy in the
With that
thing.
And Ghost Pizza.
And and Sleep Pizza.
Sleep Pizza.
Sleep Pizza.
Sleep pizza is when you go out and play a gig, and you drink so much that you order pizza on the way home and fall asleep before it gets there.
Yep.
Then your significant other...
And then your beleaguered significant other has to retrieve the pizza for you
that he didn't know you ordered.
that he had no idea you ordered.
It's a
But
present.
then he has pizza.
It's a present from you from the past.
And you're definitely not a drunk.
No.
Definitely not. No.
No
Why would you
way.
be a drunk?
Yeah.
You're just forward thinking.
And also, it happens when your best friend is crashing with you for
Yeah.
a few days. You both fell asleep for pizza, and beleaguered partner had to grab pizza for the two of your drunk asses.
Yes. There you go.
There you go.
All right.
It's a thing.
We all learned something today.
Sleep pizza.
Sleepsa.
Bringing it back to
Sleepsa.
Afterbirth
Yeah.
Monkey and the movies.
And
So
the movie.
one of my favorite songs, which is a guilty pleasure because you guys have performed it live on one of my other podcasts, which is Nerd Hymn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a ton of movie references in Nerd Hymn, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
does that just come from you guys both being nerds and wanting to write a really nerdy song?
That was one of those early songs
Yeah,
that
that's
when
the
we
one,
stood in front of each
like-
other and we like basically got naked.
Show
We're like,
me-
this is what I have to show you.
Show me. That was, yeah, yours was...
A song that I don't want to say because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm the problem child of the like things.
Oh, right.
It was
yeah.
it was Dumb Girls with Big
a
Boobs.
little,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that one.
Which was a comment not on.
Like
it's
on,
meant to. It's all in jest.
Yeah,
None of
it
it
was.
is ever
It was.
meant to be
It was.
intentional.
It was
Right.
more satire on the
Right.
concept because obviously, like,
The video came out of these. So that was another one of the shorts that I was doing, and it was
Yeah.
called "Super Awesome, Really Cool, Totally Sweet Roommates."
Nice.
And it was about a guy coming into a space to a roommate that sang in musicals, but when he saw him, he wasn't like he wasn't hearing the music.
Right.
But the guy was still singing and dancing around the apartment, even though whatever he was going through was a full-fledged musical.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get me into singing. He's like, well, "What do you like?" And I'm like, I don't know, girls. Obviously a lie.
yeah,
Right.
obviously
and what
an
do you-
actor thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I
What
like
else do you
girls.
I don't know, boobs. And he's like, all right, let's go. We got a
Yeah.
song. And we just wrote this stupid song. And at the end of it, you've got these two bros, like, he's got these fake boobs in, and they're just, like, kind of making out with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not the girl at all.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, so it was, but
Yeah,
it's
but
it's a problem child song that.
As many of our songs are.
Yeah.
It's fine. It was 2015
Yeah.
or whatever. No one got it. But I wrote Nerd Hymn before meeting Mark, just like in sort of an anthem against a lot of the gatekeeping that I suffered from when it came to nerd culture where I grew up. Like, I wasn't allowed in to these nerdy things, and I really liked them. Like I was super into Harry Potter. I loved Lord of the Rings. Like had I known Dungeons and Dragons was as amazing as it is, I would have been playing Dungeons and Dragons fucking years ago. Yeah. And it was just like, I want to write something that sort of like can be an anthem for anybody. Like I was trying to like cherry pick good references of a lot of things that are considered like nerdy, like right as nerd culture was like getting hip. You know,
right.
I was like
hit it in the mainstream.
Yeah, you know, when it was starting to be cool to be a fan person,
right?
Boy, girl, or whatever in between those things, or beyond those things. So that was really just like that one that I wrote on guitar, and I was terrible at guitar. I was like, here's all the guitar chords I know.
It is the hardest song on the planet
hard.
to play. She took every chord and was like, I'm going to use it once.
Every single chord.
It's very, very hard.
It's a hard song because I didn't know what I was doing musically, and now everything is like the same 4 chords, and I'm like, this one's about butt stuff.
Let's put a capo
This one's
on it.
about a bodega cat. This one's about cohabit. Like once you hit that, like earworms are better listening and repeating than something that's super complicated, especially if you're going to write essentially like a funny song. You know, you want it to be earwormy and you want it to be like stick to-y.
It's still one of my favorite songs that you sing, though.
What?
That one, Nerd Hymn for sure. And
that is probably out of my range now.
And I love that one and Vampire Boyfriend.
Vampire
Which again wasn't a girlfriend, was another one of those songs
sort of inspired by like the Twilight epidemic that was happening, where everything was like, and it was definitely not as well thought out as I wanted it to be, but it was trying to essentially be a turning of that like trope of women loving the other. You know, you see it in The Shape of Water, you know, and while I understand that a lot of that, now that I'm older and like I'm starting to understand like more of like what's going on socially, like the idea of women loving the other definitely comes into like women making the choices that make them happy, you know, like women loving other women, or women loving a different race or a different binary standard, where like a lot of the regulations on women are that they are the get, they are the property, they are not the ones with agency, and it's a problem in a lot of movies. And what's really weird about when you have something like Twilight, and in its weird way, Bella does have agency.
Yeah.
She's kind of boring, but she does have agency. She's making decisions. Right. She's going in eyes open to a situation that she wants to be a part of. And I thought it was really interesting also the idea that it's the men that are the monsters because men are the strong ones. And I was like, what if the vampire was a lady and she was just real strong, and you know, me just trying to like
strong and celebrated for her strength.
Yeah, and like she loves you, but she will eat you if you break up with her. You know, just half baked. I would call that song.
That whole album was pretty half baked.
Yeah, that first album, which says a lot of stuff.
Well, what's interesting though,
curtain in a closet.
That was DIY. Why did we do that?
But the second album also does have a narrative thread to it, and I imagine a lot of that comes from both of your love of acting and film, and story structure.
It feels a lot more like a theatrical piece for sure.
Yeah. So Peter Guerrero, who's a known storyteller and pottery maker, who's based out of New York, is your narrator. Was he always your dream narrator for that project?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. We asked him to narrate it before we had even finished the album. We were writing the poem and just like trying to like figure out how the like tracks would go, and we were like, Peter Aguero should do this, and
his voice takes you places.
Yeah,
just the timbre of it. You're all of a sudden like, my head feels weird.
Yeah, what was really great about the day we recorded the whole, because we did the album in a day.
Right.
We did the whole thing, and Peter did 2 reads. He did one that we like were asking. We're like, yeah, do it in your Peter Aguero voice, and he's like, I actually had an idea for another way, and that was like that very like gravelly, like kind of Waitsy sort of, and like the moment he did that, it was like do the rest of it like that
Do it
one because,
forever.
and he was like I'll do it both ways because he's a consummate professional and an incredible human, and you know.
The album we
just-
keep referring to, by the way, is Making a Beeline to Wasted.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'd actually said that.
It's okay.
And so I wanted to make sure that we actually put
don't
that in.
listen to the other one.
Yeah.
Don't
Just avoid
listen
it.
to it, except for Nerd Him.
Except for Nerd.
It peaks the levels. we'll revisit it in album 3.
Yeah.
Maybe update the references from like.
Well, because there are some really great songs on that. Like the Taco song is a fun song.
Yeah.
That is also a fun
That's a
song.
really.
Yeah.
That's I was stuck in my head actually earlier this week. I was like, oh wait, I can't sing this one out loud because it's weird.
Yeah.
I can't sing this one. I'm with normies. Oh no.
Oh, no. So, Mark, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you so
it's
much.
awesome to see you again, and it's awesome to kind of catch up with you on
Yeah.
things you've been working on.
Also, thank
things
you
that's
so
coming
much
out.
for letting me answer most of the questions. Sorry.
So we have a shtick that we do at the end of the episode that
Yeah.
Rachel will ask you, but first we have
Yeah.
a few thank yous to do.
Thank you first and foremost to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble.
Yeah, got it in one again. All right.
I'm on a streak.
On a streak.
2 for 2.
2 for 2 that you know of.
Yeah.
I, of course, also want to thank Katie Bug, who designed the artwork for
Thank
our
you
logo.
so much. I love it. Don't change it.
Please,
Perfect, no notes.
Yeah, perfect, no notes.
There you go.
Done. We look
Done.
cute as cartoon
Yeah,
characters.
I
Real
miss
cute.
that hair.
Right? You really need
Let
to
me
dye your hair
live
again.
that hair.
Now, Rachel, if you ask your good friend and our guest the question of the hour.
Yes, the question that we take them home with, a deep dive into how you feel emotionally, personally about movies. If you could choose any one trope from a movie to be true in your everyday life, what trope would you choose?
Can it be the Hallmark, like a Hallmark thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, it can be
trope.
any
Is
movie
it a
trope.
movie? Are Hallmark movies movies?
I don't know that I know the definition of trope.
Something that happens recurrently.
Okay,
For
so-
instance, like my, I think I've said this on the episode before, but like my choice of like movie trope would be like a montage to like get dressed to,
Yeah.
or like my own theme music, or things that happen constantly in movies repeatedly that you like latch on. And you're like, there it is. There's that trope. Or
So I had never watched a Hallmark movie until this past Thanksgiving, and I was sitting at my friend Shelley's, and her parents love them, and
as parents do.
and the new one is it's like a Christmas
Something.
but it's about like a girl who was in Afghanistan, and she had a dog in Afghanistan, and she left the dog, and she was now in this little town, and her car crashes, and she's forced to just be there. From like an actual storyline perspective, it's kind of the story of misery, but it's not, because everybody's happy and she doesn't mind that she's being kept there. But what I learned is that in Hallmark movies, there's a specific time where there's always an almost kiss, and then the kiss that occurs it's like 5 minutes before the movie's over.
Yep.
Right.
I want that kiss.
You want that kiss. Every time you kiss your husband, you want
like,
that
I
kiss.
You want the credits to roll.
Yeah, where like the anticipation's so you're like, just
Kiss already!
Why isn't she kissing? Like, there's only 5 minutes left in this movie.
Yeah,
And
I
then
like that.
Yeah,
That's very funny.
I want that kiss.
You want that tension and then that kiss.
Everybody's like at the before we kiss, they're all,
Yeah.
that's what I want.
But the caveat of that trope would be every time you tried to kiss your husband before that kiss, you'd get interrupted.
Oh yeah.
That's the
true.
caveat.
Yeah. Somebody would
that's
just walk in.
I like that.
He likes that.
Yeah, I want
He's
it.
for it. Like,
for it.
it's the game.
Yeah.
It's the game of the kiss. I'll never kiss you. I'll see you in 90 minutes.
Yeah,
I'll try
17,
again.
20 minutes, I think.
That's a really great idea for a
That's actually very
parody, though.
funny.
Like
Like,
imagine
they
a
just
parody
never
like
kiss.
they never kiss, and then like the time like they look down at the YouTube bar and they're like, "Oh, it's almost over. We can kiss."
It's time. We did it.
Well, again, Mark, Robert
thank
Turner,
you
thank you.
so much.
It's a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yes, Thank you to Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Thank you to Rachel Quirky Shank.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, listeners. Please, if you're enjoying what we're doing, get call to action. Follow us on Twitter at @screen_snark.
Write us a review on Facebook or your podcast streaming service of choice.
Yeah, tell a friend that you listen to this and why you like it.
Check out our previous episodes if this is your first listen. We've had some really great guests.
Yeah, our backlog is star-studded.
Star-studded.
Woof.
Clearly, we are the lowest on the totem pole of talent of who we've
we're
had
not
on.
cool. We get cool people.
Exactly.
To talk to us and to listen to us. I said you're cool. Because you're cool, listener.
You guys are cool.
Yeah.
So thank you as always for listening.
Thank
it's
you.
always a pleasure. And we will see you at the movies.